Yay, and we're live. Hello, friends. While people are coming in to the chat, welcome back to Magic Movie Club. Let's see.
Trying to get used to having this hat on.
Right? Are you super hot yet?
No, I'm actually doing okay. I feel like I'm in a ski lodge, though. I got like a sweater on.
I know, it's so stinking cute. I actually found one similar to that at Target that I want to buy. So cute. We can be twinsies.
Yeah, get it.
So funny. You just like think of something and then it's in the store.
Yeah.
Magically.
I can go get one too, so.
Right. So let's see. We need an icebreaker question today.
Oh, I totally didn't think about that stuff.
I know, I spaced it.
I got one I can say. Okay,
cool.
What is your favorite fall activity?
Ooh. Does going to Disney count? Because Food and Wine Festival would have to be my favorite fall activity.
Good choice.
I do not like driving places, but in the fall, I love driving places because of the like foliage, seeing the leaves changing. That really makes trips, like driving trips. I like that. So I like to take a nice drive somewhere and see those changing colors.
Phil and I went on a fall foliage drive recently. And I really wanted some pictures with some nice foliage. So we drove like 40 minutes away and then we couldn't find a spot. And then we drove back to our house and like 5 minutes from our house, we found a good spot.
Oh no.
So he was a great sport about it though. So good story to tell at least.
Is he working on his Instagram husband status?
He is not an Instagram husband.
It's all right. He'll get there. Oh, wow. Look at all these friends. Hello, Victoria and Jasmine. I'm so glad you could make it.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Phil. Welcome, welcome. So this week, let's see. We were talking about Brave, which I'm so excited to talk about this movie. Oh my gosh. Did you guys see it in theaters when it came out?
No.
I did not.
There was like a whole period of time where like Disney movies were not a part of my life. And like this was that moment in time.
I was going to actually say the exact same thing when we were talking about the movie.
Oh my God.
I remember going and seeing like re-releases of like Cinderella and things like that, like in the 80s, and then like movies that came out in the 90s, and then just like I think it was when Star Wars started coming back out, so it was when they re-released all of the original ones and then the prequels, then it was just like 100% Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all the time. But then like the Brave was one that I ended up finding like later on. I'm like, where did I miss this? Like when?
Right.
Yeah, that's so funny. I did go see it. I was super pumped. And then I was like mildly disappointed by it. And then a friend of mine was having like a bachelorette party, but we just like went to dinner and then went and saw Brave. And I was like, God, I have to go see it again. And I had already seen it. So I was like, this is a bummer, but I did see it in theaters twice. All right, so let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Mary. My channel is Jolly Holiday with Mary. I do like Disney hauls and Disney pin collecting, and I share our daily lives of me and my husband Nick and our two Boston Terriers, Albert and Edie, in weekly vlogs. And my co-host, Pauline from Mouse and Mermaid.
Hello, I'm Pauline. I'm the mermaid in Mouse and Mermaid. My husband and I, Phil, we have a YouTube channel and we do Disney trips and talk about Disney stuff, and I talk about pins, and then we also vlog our weekly life.
Yay! And our guest this week is Jacob from Disney Channel.
Hi, yes.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Jacob from Disney Channel. My wife and I do vlogs from our Disney trips that we take. We do a lot of restaurant reviews, but we are also huge Star Wars fans, and we do things like go to Star Wars Celebration or go to Force Friday events where they have merchandise that comes out that day, and we buy that and talk about the lines and other Star Wars fans that are there, and we collect a lot of Star Wars memorabilia and do a lot of fun stuff there and crafting. So that's our big thing ourselves. So
we're gonna have to do like a month of Star Wars or something, maybe, and
I would
bring him
just
back.
do that. I love Star Wars.
That would be great.
I do too.
Are you watching
Yeah,
The
no kidding. Did you
Mandalorian?
guys watch Mandalorian this week?
We did, yes. It was so good.
Jinx.
Right?
Mhm.
I
No, I
feel like
can't wait for
everyone was
Friday. Holy cow.
talking about it like it was going to be released all together and they were just going to binge it, and people were forgetting that it comes out every week.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely forgot. We were very disappointed.
I knew there was, but it doesn't change that you're disappointed after the episodes and you're like, well, now what am I supposed to do for a whole week without...
Right? Obsessed
There's no
over every
trailer,
Easter egg.
right?
Right.
That makes me so sad.
I know, gosh. That's okay. Yeah, we've been watching lots of like review videos and breakdowns and Easter egg videos. It's super fun to just obsess over every little thing.
Right.
True Star Wars fans, I think. Nice. Hi, Magic in Michigan. Welcome.
Hi,
So glad
friend.
you could make it. All right, cool. So let's yes, Facebook group. I don't know if everybody is, I think everybody in the chat is probably in the Facebook group, but we have a Facebook group for our Magic Movie Club stuff. So if you want to go check that out, it will be in the description of the video. It's super fun. Did you guys get together and watch it as a group this week, or Movie Brave?
It was kind of like a weird week where we didn't watch it. So we got to get back on track. And Amanda's usually the one who puts it out. So I feel like I put it out and it was bad juju because no one wanted to go. But Amanda's got to put it out next time.
Oh, no. That's so funny. I know I usually see like messages or something about it, and I didn't see anything this week.
Yeah, I think
That's
everyone's just like, I don't know, kind of like after Halloween crazy.
It was it was like such a build up to Halloween, and then it was just like
Whoa.
craziness.
Is
going
it just
on
my computer that's being weird, or is it you too?
I'm getting a little glitchy from you, but
Oh, dang, it must be my internet. Okay, no worries. We'll just keep on plugging. I'm like in the back of the house, and I'm pretty sure that there's some metal in some of the old walls. So like, it just doesn't always get straight back here, but oh, well, okay. Let's see. Oh, I don't think that's the reason, Phil. All right, so in the chat, and we can answer these too. Did you learn anything from this movie? We're going to talk about like an overview of the movie. We watched Brave this week from Pixar, and I think we can just do like a general feelings about the movie, and then also we'll let chat answer and see if they've learned anything during the watching of this movie. Oh, that's a good one.
yeah.
That was funny.
Oh no. If you guys lose me at any point, just like, I can hear you pretty well, so just, I don't know, wave me down or something and I'll stop talking.
Perfect.
Witches cannot be trusted. Okay. Good point. Phil learned a lot this week.
Phil and I love the baby bears. That's the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Do you guys? Did anybody ever use the? Was it Disney Infinity? The like video game system where you could put the like little pieces on the machine and it would like bring you into those games or whatnot. Do you remember that?
It sounds amazing.
It's but you could use it to create your own games, and I created a mini game where it was like the kingdom, and you were tasked with like as Merida running around and picking up the bears and trying to corral them. But I'm horrendous at that game itself, like making those mini games, so it never worked out exactly the same. But I always thought it was like really like a funny idea, so I kept always trying to tweak it and make it work, but it never did. But those bears were like really funny, like just bounding all around. So
that is hilarious. I feel like Phil would want to play that game.
Yeah,
that's so funny. That sounds like fun. I got that game for Christmas one year, and I don't play video games because it like messes with my head and I feel awful when I watch the screen for too long. But I tried so hard to play that game and I didn't get it either. It was very fun to collect the pieces though.
Yes, I was going to say collecting the little figurines was really cool. So.
And now that's why they have like 20 different things that you could collect for Disney. Keys, pins, plush, like 20 kinds of plush. So,
of course. All right. So a general overview of the movie. Jacob, do you want to go first?
Sure. I was kind of in the same boat. I watched it and it wasn't one that really stuck with me as far as that. I was like, while I really absolutely love this movie, I have a degree in music. So music for me is something that's really emotional and powerful. And the two songs that were in it were not like memorable. Mm-hmm. They're not like the like, I wouldn't say like up to the standard of other Disney movies. So for me, that was kind of where it got a pretty good sized ding as far as what it was. But the movie itself, I love the story that it portrays, but there were parts of it that just didn't really hit it with me. So whereas I watch a lot of Disney movies and I'm like, it is great all around, this one was like hit or miss depending on which part I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pauline, what are your thoughts?
So this movie makes me wonder if there's like a curse on moms in regards to Disney, because like, does a mom have to die for a Disney movie to be good? That's just like my question. I enjoy this movie, but I do feel like it leaves you like wanting more. Not necessarily like the ending leaves you wanting more. It's just like it's a little more bland, I think, in terms of Disney movies. Like we're just kind of moseying on through the story, sort of. But I don't know. I feel like it's never anyone's favorite, and I don't think it's like that bad. So it's just kind of it's okay. It's good.
Yeah, I agree. Also, hello to Walt Life, Salt Life. No problem. Yes, I agree completely. Like, I think it was one of the very first Pixar movies that I just kind of walked out of the theater being like, that was not what I was expecting. Or like, I don't know, they set the bar so high that this was kind of one of the ones that just fell short a little bit. And I felt like the story left something, I don't know. There was so much potential with it. Like, I like the idea of the whole story, but yeah, I just feel like there's something lacking a little bit there.
I think maybe like, what is the big bear's name? I feel like
Muldoon.
Yeah, I feel like they could have maybe done more with that.
They did have a like a short that goes over his whole story. It's
Oh,
on Disney Plus. Yeah, then that is really cool.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, that might help.
I kind of think also like as far as it, you put it up against the great Disney movies, and it just doesn't reach that level. But if you would put it up against another movie company's movies, so if it ended up getting made by like Blue Sky or one of the other like animated
Right.
companies, it would really be like at the top of their like animated features. So just because it was Disney, I think that kind of brought it down a little bit just because of what it went, like what people compare it to. They're like, oh, which would you rather watch, The Little Mermaid or Brave? Or which would you rather watch, Brave or, you know,
Rio.
Yeah. So exactly. So depending on what you're pitting it up against, it's going to be really high if it's against some things and really low if against others. So just because it was made by Disney, it ended up just people really compare it to the other Disney ones. And that's kind of where it would end up not always being at the top.
And I think some of the message, like relatability throughout the movie is maybe not so universal. I don't know. I think the storyline lends itself to being not as relatable. Whereas like Toy Story, it's like everyone has toys and an emotional connection, but like, I don't know, not everyone is a princess trying to be forced to marry someone. So.
Right. I think too, if they had worked more on the mother-daughter story, we could have related more like with their conflicts and resolutions and things, because that's definitely something people can relate to. My mom just doesn't listen to me or whatever kind of thing, or vice versa. My kids just don't listen to me. Like, I feel like they could have done a lot more with that too. And they just kind of spent too much time like talking about how Merida's a free spirit and like, we get it. She's
right.
You know, spunky and stuff.
On that in the first scene. So we're good.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, wow. Some people were offending Andrew.
Andrew, I don't think it's terrible. I don't know. There's just a little something more I want. Like I like Coco. I love Coco. Like Coco, and I agree with you, Jacob. Like the music is just not. I think if the music was better, maybe the whole movie would be better.
Right. I think that it's missing more music.
Yeah.
Like it only has two songs that are sung. Everything else is background music.
Well, and like the second song is like, what's happening in that scene is just odd to me.
Right. It doesn't necessarily fit the song itself.
Right.
Right. I did see somebody had mentioned her hair, and that was one thing that I'm like, I absolutely love that part of it. Like, I think the animation is actually done really well. When she shoots the arrow, I think when she's on her free spirit thing, and it cuts, but you see it like going through the air, and I'm like, that's like animated really, really well. And you look at other things that were out around the same time, like the like again, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and all their hair is just like stiff helmets looking things. It's like Disney did it well. Like Disney and Pixar did it really, really well as far as animating it. It looks really, really good.
Yeah.
There it is. It took me the whole time to find that one comment.
Right.
Yes, I'm so jealous of her hair. I wish I could find a way to just like zap mine and have this huge head of hair. I love her hair. It's so cool.
I like when she's wearing the hood and like her hair like pokes peeks out.
Yeah, she just swirls it out. It's so
right.
I don't know how she got all that in there, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is some mermaid hair if I ever saw it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's I guess we kind of touched on the story, but we can move more in depth into the story. And we will give the chat, and we can answer this too. What was your favorite moment in the movie? We can answer that and give the chat a minute to put their answers in, and then we can kind of move on. Pauline, what did you think?
Okay, this is kind of going to give away some stuff I want to talk about later. But I love the like the very first scene where she's like going through the forest, the music is playing, like shooting the arrows, and for me, it's like it reminds me, because I feel like that is a very monumental moment in Happily Ever After. And I feel like I like that song and movie more because of Happily Ever After. And if it wasn't in the show, like the fireworks show, I might, I don't know, like I think I have like a weird bias for it because of that part of the show.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it makes it a little bit more emotional for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jacob.
I was gonna say one thing. I'm totally gonna change what it was now though. I like when she has to sneak her mom out of the castle and she gets her little brothers to help her and they're like shaking the chicken and like making the noises. It's just like it's so funny. It's so well done.
Oh yeah, her brothers are hilarious.
Right. But I love that they're like, yeah, we got your back.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. If you pay us in desserts.
I love too when the dad's telling the story and the little boys are like repeating it because they know like every single word.
Right.
They're so good. I love them.
Yeah. They were like pure Pixar because they didn't say anything. Like it was all visual, which I think Pixar does really well. And then
yes.
But then the rest of the movie was kind of like, I don't know, where's that in the rest of the movie?
Yes. They are good with adding those like humor nuggets in. Like when the crow like puts his little like shield on.
That was my second one, was kind of another funny moment, was when she refines the like the witch's store, like shop, and it's like an answering machine. Like, and I'm like, that's really funny. But it's those like really funny moments that really stick out in the movie for me. I'm like, it makes me like really laugh. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yes. All the funny little boy moments have to be my favorite. They're just such little menaces. Yes, their hair is on its way to being just as crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Too funny. All right, so getting more in depth to the story, Jacob, do you want to take that away?
Sure. I really went and talked just a lot about like the general themes of the movie, I guess. So it was like through researching, because I didn't know I was like, is it based on another story or anything? And the woman that wrote it based on her like relationship with like a mother-daughter relationship. And I thought that was pretty good also. But something that deals with what I do kind of in my day job, which is deal with mental health and students, is, we just went over this with them like the other week, is coming back from mistakes. And like, if you make a mistake, working hard to come back from that. And that's really the one thing that really touches home with this movie. And something that I go over a lot is, she messed up. She made that mistake. She broke the bond and has to like mend it. So she has to go through that whole process of fixing not so much the tapestry, but the relationship with her mom. So I did enjoy that. I did like that. And I love seeing that full circle that they kind of see a little bit of each other in each other then. And that's good. I like that. So that was good. The mom being like hard on her at the beginning, before she goes out, when she's going over what it's like being a princess, and she's like, princesses don't do this, princesses don't do this, and you can see her like frustration through all of it. And that like leads to it. But you also like, I think about the mom and I wonder if she's really like, as a queen now herself, she had to go through this, but she didn't enjoy it herself then. So she wonder if she kind of feels bad putting her daughter through it also. Like that was something that I'm like questioning, like going through it. So, but yeah, I like it as far as that end of what the story is. And just, she constantly talks about like fate and finding her destiny and things like that, which I love that too. But I feel like they didn't do quite as much with that than they did with the other parts of the story. Like she brought it up a couple times in the movie at the beginning, and then I'm like, it doesn't necessarily always play out.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely liked her at the beginning when she was like spirits and the wisps and stuff, and then she got all like hardcore
Right.
strategic, do this stuff, no more fun.
Yeah. But those are just the general themes of the movie itself that I like took from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of subtlety too with this movie. I think they could have been maybe a little more obvious about stuff, because it's interesting what you said about like the mother. You think maybe she went through that, and I feel like there was a moment where like the mother paused and you could like see her wanting to say like, you know what, like it's okay, like don't worry about it, like we can wait on this, and then she didn't. So I don't know, I feel like they could have maybe been a little less subtle all around.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is the this would go in with the stars themselves, but is the mom Scottish?
The mom is what's her face from like Love Actually, Mrs.
Right.
Live Action.
It's Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she plays as a Scottish queen or if she like married into.
Right.
Oh, right.
So that was another thing that like watching it, because I was like trying to pick accents sometimes, and again, they don't really discuss that. They don't discuss her past, and you just like, I'm watching it and I'm like wondering, because as much as it is like Merida's story, I think the mom is equally brave through the entire thing, and I'm like, it's almost like the mom's story. So you could watch it as a parent and really like gear towards her also, and say like, I want what's best for my kid, and I know it's going to be tough for them, like tough love, but we're going to have to get through it kind of a situation. So I'm like, you could almost watch it both ways, but there's so many more questions about the mom that they really didn't answer. So,
and that might have enhanced it a little bit more. So,
right.
Yeah, I definitely think they needed to touch more on really both of them, like outside of just like the quarreling and stuff. Like, I definitely think when she pauses for a moment, she's thinking like, I need to just soften up a little bit. But then it's like, maybe her mom was never soft, and so she's like, I can't do that. Like, I turned out good. I'm just going to keep on pushing, whatever, like a trickle down of parenting techniques or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I really wish there had been more development of like the mom and daughter relationship. Like, we established it and then they turn into a bear, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think the scene where we feel the most connected to like any characters is the fishing scene, and it's so short, and then like there's such good potential for there to be more of that kind of feeling with like the Trail of the Wisps. So there's going to be like a journey ahead, but then they just cut straight to being where they're supposed to be, and it's like, I want to see more of the journey and like issues to overcome, like build more of that relationship up. That was something I felt was missing.
Yeah, I liked that also. It's like really where she was really like relating to her mom there. Like they were having fun, they were enjoying it. And then it just like turns so quickly where she sees that mom's like losing her humanity, and she's like, I gotta step up and fix the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I read something that was kind of a good like comparison. Like if Sam and Frodo like saw the Mount Doom or whatever in the distance, and then we just cut to it, like all that in between stuff could have been so good for this movie. I feel like cut out a little bit more of the free-spirited stuff at the beginning and add some more like character development and an arc. I also didn't like that Merida, like, I don't know that she ever really accepted that it was her fault that she turned her mother into a bear. Even when she becomes a bear, she's like, it's not my fault, it was the witch. It's like, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Oops, here we go. Yeah, see, it's definitely like a relatable topic, because you want to like do well for your parents and want to make them proud and stuff, but sometimes they're just a little hard.
But and then also like that's as kids watching it, or as people maybe without kids watching it, you don't necessarily relate to that side of the movie. So it is kind, and you don't always see that, like the fixing, like when you have to come back from something, a mistake that you made. You don't always see like that end of things when you're watching the movie. So it's so like sometimes you have to really dig deep in this movie to find those themes that people don't always dig deep to find those themes, because they want to go to watch a movie for enjoyment, not necessarily to like really dig deep into a movie. Like sometimes there are movies that I'm like, I really want to dig deep into this movie, and sometimes there's movies where I'm like, I want to sit and watch the movie and turn off like my brain. And this is one that you can't really turn your brain off, because you'll miss all these elements. So
yeah, someone mentioned the wisps, and I just want to talk about that for a second, because like I love the end when the king turns into the wisp, and it kind of like touches on like, you know, your ancestors are guiding you to your fate and your destiny. And I felt like that was like, I don't know, maybe it's not subtle to other people, but I thought it was just like they maybe could have like gone more into that almost at the end, because I felt like the whole first scene was like my destiny, my fate. It's this whole like speech about that, and then it's just like that little blip at the end, which I thought was like a really strong concept. It just, I don't know that they executed it out as effectively as they could have.
Yeah, I agree. I think even the witch could have been like a wisp kind of character.
Right. I liked the wisps in general. Like I thought that was really fun. And as far as like I go like more into that with the score, but I like the way that they were scored, like the music when the wisps were there, and how they were like the noises that they made and things like that. So
yeah, it was very like kind of spooky and mysterious, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have more wisps and magical Scottish things. All right, if we don't have anything else to say about the story, we can move on to the stars. I love a good Pocahontas reference. Any strong female character. I do love that this was like female centric.
Well, and I feel like Merida like walked, so like Moana and like other like non-male centric female characters could like really shine.
Yes. All right, the stars. So for the chat and for us, what character or characters do you think needed more screen time? We kind of talked about that, I think, with the wisps a little bit, but we can also elaborate on it. Jacob, if you want to.
Let me see.
Sorry, I just threw that on you.
That's okay. I still think, and I think we had said it before, I think that they needed to hash out Queen Eleanor a little bit more, like give a little bit more of her story as opposed to more of the of Merida's story. Because the movie is about Merida, it's her story, but I think like we'd have a little more like empathy towards the mom if we had a little bit more of her backstory. Maybe a little bit more of her childhood as opposed to like really young Merida, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Holly?
So I think I agree with that backstory. I also just want to mention, like, I love the dad in this, and I feel like, I don't know, I just don't think he gets enough love. I don't know that we necessarily needed to see more of him. I thought there was enough there, but I thought it was strong. Like, I liked his character a lot. Yeah, I don't know, for me, like, I don't know if, like, other than the mother, if screen time was, like, a problem. It was more, like, how they allocated that screen time.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
The dad also did a voice in Pocahontas.
Really?
Yeah. He was like John Smith's like older friend, like on the ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No way. That's welcome. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's different.
It is totally different. He's not so much of like he's like, I don't know. He's not a main character.
Yeah, he doesn't go on the adventure with Ariel.
Right.
He sends her on the adventure by destroying the statue.
Well, and I also feel like, I don't know, this may be like kind of a blanket statement, but I think that like a mother-daughter relationship has a little more meat to it and complexity than like a father-daughter relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he fully admits it himself. He says he like is talking to Sebastian, like saying, "Am I too hard on her?" Like he doesn't know. He doesn't get it. He doesn't know. I mean, he has how many other daughters, and he still is making those mistakes, right?
It's hard being a rich king single dad. So
right.
True story. Yeah, and she's a troublemaker, so you got to keep her. Don't know how hard is too hard, but she'll get over it. All right, so talking about the stars, Pauline, do you want to give us your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked I enjoyed the voice acting. I feel like it really set like you obviously like know where this is. So I thought that was really good. The three bears, I just like, but we can have a whole episode about how much I love them. And I was surprised, like when I actually looked and saw who the voice actors were, that I didn't at first recognize any of them, but there are some like pretty well-known stars in the cast. Not necessarily like Merida, but I also like, as an aside, I love how they kind of like poke fun at her in like the whole Disney princess canon in Wreck-It Ralph too.
Yes.
So that's just great also.
And they use the same voice actress, but she just lays the accent on a lot thicker, which is really funny. And they're like, I don't know what she's saying.
Right. And it's just interesting too, because like I don't know, when it was like 2 years ago at D23, like all the princesses were there, and like you would see pictures and like you knew who everyone was, and then I was like, who's that princess? You know, and it's Merida. So
is that the first Wreck-It Ralph or the second one?
It was the second one.
Oh, okay.
Did you know who they originally had cast as Merida?
No, who?
Reese Witherspoon.
What?
Yeah, she did an interview and talked about losing the part because she could not do a Scottish accent.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
But I also love how, again, this movie maybe was like kind of like the star of, I don't know enough about actresses who've played Disney princesses, but like I look at like the character like Moana, like they totally picked her out of like a huge casting of like random young girls. She wasn't like a famous actress who happened to fit this like mold of, you know, being authentic to where the movie's from.
Right.
Yeah. Jacob, did you want to talk some more about stars? What do you have on your notebook?
Yeah, let me see. This was just kind of like and it's not so much a star, I guess. Well, it gets into it, but I like they made her so quirky sometimes with like her mannerisms and how she acted and stuff. But I then it made me wonder like if like how Kelly Macdonald's like singing voice is, and again why they didn't end up using her as the person singing the songs, or why they didn't add more songs, like just little things like that, which doesn't necessarily go with the stars themselves, but it just made me wonder about her again, like the musical end of it, like how she does singing or whatnot. That was kind of like an odd aside, I guess, but it just made me question again that like I guess the making of the movie, how it was fleshed out, I guess.
See, I just want to like say something about that. I actually like really like that for the first song that she wasn't singing it, like because I don't think Merida would sing, so it like made sense to me, and I was like, oh, I feel like this is me. Like I'm having an adventure, and it's like the soundtrack of my life is playing in the background. You know, I think it was a little, I don't know. That part was relatable to me. But
yeah, I would say her not singing it reminds me, and it's not like a character in the movie, but in the original Rescuers, the what's it called? The bottle with the SOS note in it is floating. There's an overlay song that is almost as if the bottle was singing it. And
right.
when this is her, almost like her inner monologue, like the things she's thinking as she's going through it. So it makes me think when I was young, like running around, having a good time, and like just who knows like what songs were singing through my head, like kind of like that.
Oh,
but you're right. I don't necessarily know that she. Yeah, I don't know that she would be singing out loud. That's why I brought that up about how like they drew her a lot more quirky than other princesses and her mannerisms and something like that. So it's not necessarily so much of a like how she would be really out there just belting a song out. So
yeah. My whole life is like a song in my head. So
right.
I agree with Punzi's Palace that Pixar just kind of did their movies that way. Like they didn't do musicals until Coco.
Right.
They just had like, I always think of Toy Story 2 where like Jessie's talking about her girl that left her in a box or whatever. And they just have that like horrible, heartbreaking song playing in the background kind of thing. So I feel like that would just go with, it just makes me cry every time. So
if it doesn't,
I hate it.
Like, do you have a heart?
Right, seriously. And I agree that she's supposed to like be the anti-princess, so she can't sing, kind of thing.
But they, in Wreck-It Ralph, they also mention, they say, oh, if you're a princess, you have a song. They like say to Vanellope, so she has her whole song. I'm like, oh, Merida didn't really have her song she sang, but it still works out.
Right. Yeah. So my thoughts about the stars. Were you finished with that? Sorry, Jacob.
Yes.
Okay. So my biggest like pet peeve, I think, was the whole villain. Like Mordu isn't like a proper villain. What is his motivation? Like I needed more motivation, good, evil motivation of some kind. Like, and I don't think I even connected until like in the first viewing that he was the bear that they're like talking about and stuff. I feel like he needs to be explained more or something, which we've kind of said before, but like, I don't know. I love a good villain motivation. And I feel like this movie didn't really have that. And they could have even gone with like the Mary Poppins route where it's like not a real character that is like the antagonist. It's just life in general kind of thing. But they didn't, I don't feel like they even did that strongly either.
Yeah.
Like, they
Go
didn't
ahead.
need him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just got like, so he was what the mom would have turned into. If she didn't mend the bond, the mom would be exactly what he was, like full just animal. Like she'd completely lose her humanity. But the whole thing was that he lost his humanity kind of before that anyway, because Merida's the one that broke the bond and the mom was the one that suffered. But Muldoon was the one that broke the bond and he was the one that suffered. Nobody broke it for him on that one. So he didn't know or couldn't mend the bond because he didn't want to. He loved the power. He craved the power that it created by him turning into the bear. Like stronger than 10 men, I think they said, or something like that.
Right. I just wanted him to be a part of like the clan's history a little bit more or something. And maybe it's like that in the short film you said. Right.
Yeah, they go like they flesh it out a little bit more about how I think that him and his siblings' dad had passed away, and there was a big like fight over who was going to be like the next king. And I think each one of the brothers had like a different thing. Like one might have been a good archer, and one was a good tactician, like really smart. And he was just really strong. So like when he like broke that bond between the family, that was enhanced, I guess. But like, yeah, if you watch that whole like the short, I didn't even know it was there, and then one day like happened upon it, and it wasn't building up to this. It was like a while ago, so I don't remember all of it, but it was cool because I like when they add those little elements into things. It was good.
Would it have been beneficial to like be in the movie more?
It might have. They touched on it, just like the hair when she and her mom like happened upon his castle or the ruins of his castle, and you could see like that the thing was there, and she explained it, but they didn't explain more of the backstory. And I think that's the like whole of this movie is they brought everything out and left just a little bit too much back that they could have. It would have been maybe make the movie 10 minutes longer and done a little bit extra of each character, and it probably would have helped a lot. Yeah, the elder son.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree too that there's not always like a clear villain, which I actually like in movies. I just don't feel like they pushed it far enough for it, like the conflict between the mother and daughter to be the villain. Like they tried, but not quite all the way. And then there was a bear also.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I thought the villain was time. Like she had to get back and fix that before time ran out, or else she'd lose her mom.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah. Let's see. One other thing I thought was along the same lines of like character development. A lot of the characters kind of felt more of like a mechanism just to like the next plot point. Like the witch was just there and then gone for so quickly, and then you never see her again. It's like, I don't know. I would love for them to have worked all that stuff into the wisps somehow and like made the wisps their own character that just takes on different,
Yeah, because they would be helping lead her destiny as opposed to random things that never show up again later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yes.
Well, like ultimately they would be a part of that. It's just like they didn't show that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was like the random funny like comic relief or something.
Right. And she was voiced by the same actress that was the Mother Weasley in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
She was definitely funny. I liked her.
Yeah, she was good.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the message answering machine was the best part.
And yeah.
You can say more if you have.
That's okay. I think it was a later scenery thing that I had.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to move ahead.
Gotcha. All right. I guess we can move on to the score if we're all good. And I will post this question. What sort of a mood or atmosphere do you think the music set for this film? Pauline, do you have any thoughts?
So I kind of like enhanced for me, like I do think the music was really lacking at, for the most part, but it kind of did set the tone of like that folklore kind of like, that destiny vibe, if you will. I do think like it didn't have sort of like that like end crescendo of like, I figured it all out. But other, at least for the beginning and kind of like the journey, it kind of had some good, vibes for that. And Jacob mentioned about like the tone of the wisps. Like I forget like that stuff is like part of the score, but they come in and they're part of the journey, and it's kind of this curiosity and wonder of like, a little bit scary of what's happening next. So I don't know. I thought it lent itself really well to that. But again, I don't know. I kind of feel like for me, this whole movie is just sort of like low key and subtle, and I just wanted more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Jacob?
I'd say that scene where she's going through the woods and shooting the arrows and stuff, that really, it does have such a free, like, it just like does the, I don't know how to say it, it just opens everything up. It's like freedom when you hear it. And when especially when she reaches that pinnacle, like as a song is coming to that end, and she's like standing at the top of, is it Fire Falls, and like splashes in her face. And then when she comes back and like tells her dad about it, and I think her mom's like worried that she did that climb, but he's like, great job. I did like that, even though, like you said, like it's more like internal, it's not her singing it out or whatnot. But I think that sets probably as the best that there was in it. But I also thought it was kind of very generic. And that's what I would say about most of it. It was like a very generic score with very generic Scottish instruments as opposed to something more robust, if that makes sense. So the instrumentation that I picked out through most of the score was guitar, whistle, and a chanter, which is like the bagpipes without the drones, and strings. But it was very, very like minimalistic. There was not a lot. And I would have liked to see more emoting. So like a more like just where the music takes you. So it doesn't take you like when things are scary, it never was like the music's also extremely scary. And when things are exciting, it never got like super exciting. The music would bring it up a little bit, but it didn't bring it up enough for what you would expect in not even just a Disney movie, like any movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always just a little too low key of what there was there. And like I said, there's so many more instruments that they could have brought in that they didn't. So I was like, there were no, like almost no percussion. And there are Scottish drums that are super famous and they didn't really use them. Touch the Sky was guitar, bagpipes, again, without the drones. And let me see. But the Will o' the Wisps was awesome. Like that, again, musically was my favorite part because there like one showed up and it had like almost like baby talk and like really like high pitched, let me see what I have, but like breathy speaking. And then when the other one showed up, it was like a flute scale or trill where they were like all showing up. And I was like, that's what you want. Like, that's a great use of instruments. Mm-hmm. Like, I like it. I liked that. They didn't do it anywhere else. It was just that. Yeah. But that made that part feel a lot more special, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I really liked the bagpipes. There was like two spots for me where I thought the music was really fun. Like the arrival of the suitors, like on their boats and stuff. There were lots of drums. It was like a big hullabaloo. It sounded so much like I don't know if you guys have seen Brigadoon, the Gene Kelly, the old movie. No. It's awesome. But there's like a wedding scene and all the different clans like come into this like wedding pavilion kind of thing, and they're all playing their different just like they were playing their, I don't know what, they have their own special songs or whatever for each clan, but like it reminded me a lot of that. And it was just like really, it got so loud at one point that like, I don't know, it just gives you all the feels and stuff. And I liked that with the arrival of the suitors, but then that was like it. And then also I enjoyed when they were doing like the Highland games and things, just the fun, pretty bagpipey Scottish music. Yeah. Other than that, it was like
what they could have done is when they're all coming in and each clan has their own like song. When they're at the Highland Games and they're showing this clan doing this game, you could bring that theme back up within the broader piece of music. Or when they're doing the introductions and saying, my son did this, and the big strong guy's staying there and they pull out the little like shrimpy guy, they could have again had those songs playing for the clan, like, and that's giving like each character a theme, which was kind of lacking. Also, I didn't hear it too much, but
yeah.
I like all that stuff you talked about too, Mary, like with them entering in the Highland Games. I actually have been to like a Celtic festival, and they have clans walking around, like families walking around, and they have like songs that they're playing. So it totally took me back to when I've gone to those before, when I like saw those parts.
Yeah. That would be super fun to see in real life. I love all the like Irish and Scottish stuff. It's so pretty. The dancing and stuff too. Yeah. Did I ask you, Pauline, to talk about score yet? Or did I skip you?
I don't have much more to add other than like, I love the first song, and I think it's just because of the Happily Ever After. I feel like it wouldn't have that same meaning. But I don't know. And that has to do with like timing of like when I really saw the movie and when I've experienced Happily Ever After too. So
Yeah.
I just like how they got because Julie Fellows, who sang those two songs, is a Scottish folk singer. So they did go all out and get authentic people to like sing and be in the movie, which was nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I appreciate that for sure. One thing I meant to say earlier, and I just remembered when we were talking about the playing the clan music when they're introducing their sons and stuff. I guess this would have gone in the characters or the stars, but it was kind of nice not to have like the typical prince
I love
element.
that.
Yeah.
Like, they had such goofy princes, but then I also kind of wish they had used the princes a little bit more. Like, it would have been awesome at the end for Merida to like team up with them to like defeat Mor'du, and like if each one had their own, skill or something, like she could have at least started like making friends with them and like building a trust or a relationship or something with them in that they needed to like work together and stuff. But they were just kind of like there, not really doing anything and being really dippy.
That would have actually been great, and it would have kind of showed the mom how far that Merida herself has come. Like, because she could have been the one that brings everybody together to defeat him.
Right.
And then it shows like what a great leader she is. And she's like, all these clans might be mad that nobody gets to marry her, but she still pulled them all together to, like form some type of a bond or a union between the kingdoms. And that would be kind of neat.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's not just like
and
awkward.
And show her more like Merida's skills as opposed to her mother's skills, like when she was kind of like talked everyone into, dealing with the fact that she's not going to pick one of them.
Right.
Yeah. I think Merida's speech at the end would have been more earned or something like that too if she had, I don't know, learned more of a lesson, kind of like working together with people and that sort of thing.
Right.
Oh, did I hear a baby?
You did, yes.
Too cute. All right. I guess you can move on to the ratings if we're all done.
Oh, I have some scenery stuff too.
Oh my God. How do I keep missing? I'm the worst at this. Just fire me. Scenery. I like, look at this giant blank space here, and I just didn't even put scenery in there. What am I doing? Let's talk about scenery. All right, Jacob, you can go ahead and talk about what you have written down.
Okay, so this is kind of, I did again some research on like the costumes and the weaponry that was there. So I kind of placed the movie a little different than where some other people did. So I said like early 12th century because of the dress and the weaponry. So they said that at that time, like 20% of Scotland was forested around that time. So I liked, because if I go to Scotland today, there's a very minimal like forest. It's a very like open, the highlands. So I like that there was some forests there. And I like, especially when you had talked about the fishing scene, there's a part where it shows like Merida like angle in towards her, and you can see the trees in the background, but you also see like openness behind the trees. So you're like, obviously they did a lot of research there to make sure that they didn't like forest it too much, like things like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the greens are like really nice. Let's see what else I had here. I love the petroglyphs, the stone circles that showed up from time to time, because that's like excellent. Because as you watch the movie and you say, wow, this is a really like old, not old movie, but a movie that takes place such a long time ago. And then having that stuff, you think there's so much beyond, like back even well before this, that they don't even touch on. That I love that kind of stuff. It's like similar to the Sword in the Stone, where they're going through this story and then they're like, wait a second, there's this old stone with the sword in it. Where did that come from? It's been around for so long. And I love that kind of stuff where they make the movie itself, but then there's a history that you don't even, that's like well beyond. Like that's great.
Yeah. And Pauline, what are your thoughts?
One thing I loved, being a graphic designer, I loved all of the like Celtic typography. I thought that was really beautiful. I'll just show you my notebook here. I like attempted to do some Celtic typography. It's hard. Okay. So so I love that. I loved also kind of like the art and the like the details that they put in, like the tapestry was beautiful. Like even some of the like pieces in like the furniture and stuff, they put those details in. So I thought they did a really good job of that. It's, you know, maybe not, you know, I thought unlike the music where they maybe could have gone more into especially from what you said, Jacob, utilizing some of the instruments of, you know, the Scottish culture. I thought they did a good job visually with things in terms of integrating the culture.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed the Highland games the most because I used to do Scottish Highland dancing. So random. I have no idea why I had like even a teacher in Indiana who was teaching Scottish Highland dancing, but like when I saw that, I had a little freak out moment because I was like, oh my God. Like I thought nobody else knew about this thing. So that was fun for me. And then the landscape is like really, really pretty. I loved Angus. He's such like a beautifully done horse.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, yeah, it was really nice. And I loved all the colors, like the tealy kind of hue of the whole movie going with like her dress and stuff. I don't know. It was just very aesthetically pleasing for sure.
I think it was one of the first ones where the water looked so good. Like when in that fishing scene, like when it was going through, and that was like excellent also. I liked also the witch's shop.
Yeah.
And like all the different carvings. And there were like what's it called? Like Easter eggs in that also. Because I think there was like a little carved Sully from Monsters Inc. and stuff like that.
Go back and look for those.
Yeah, no kidding. There has to be a Pizza Planet truck in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that in every Pixar movie?
I think so. There might be. I don't even remember what all's in it. But I just remember like it was so full. And that was also funny then because you know nobody went there to buy any of her stuff. So she's probably like, oh, come on, like get this.
Yeah.
There is a Pizza Planet truck. I had to look it up.
Oh, nice. Is it in the wood carvings?
Like on the table when she's carving something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'll have to go back and look for it. That's too funny. All of it. Okay, cool.
I also like I thought Fire Falls was like excellent. Gorgeous. With like the sunlight behind it. Yeah. So it did look like that. And I don't think they mentioned it as Fire Falls until she went and told her dad about it. And I'm like, what a perfect name. Like they really hit it.
Right.
That was so good.
That's so funny. I feel like there's a waterfall like that in Yosemite that's called something like that. But at some point during the day, it looks like it's like orange or rainbow or something crazy like that.
Yep.
Wow. She was super fast on that. Okay. I'm not forgetting anything else, am I? I think so.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. So then ratings now. I don't know. I take a week off, man. And all right. So let's put this up. Okay. So everybody in the chat, let us know too. What are the ratings we're going to give this film? So we have Waltastic. It's like the top tier. Golden Mickey, Background Magic, One Hit Wonder, or Keep It in the Vault. It's going to take them a minute to get in here. All right, so we have one vote for Background Magic. Pauline, do you want to go ahead and give us your rating?
This is like where I feel like we need so many filler categories. I'm
Yeah.
totally between. I wrote Golden Mickey, but I don't know. I don't think it's quite there. But I don't know. I think it's more special than background magic. So I'll go easy on it and say Golden Mickey.
Nice. Jacob, what do you want to categorize it as?
I was leaning more towards the background magic. I think it's a good film to pull out from time to time to watch, but it's not one that if it was like if I sat down and it was on TV, I'd sit and just finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
Disney has such a vault of movies that I have to like really say which ones would I like watch all the time and which ones I just like pick and choose every once in a while that I watch. That's one that I probably wouldn't watch every time, that I'd probably just pull out from time to time.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. And yeah, it would be nice to have something in between Golden Mickey and background magic for some of these. Victoria's right.
Golden magic.
Golden magic. I love it.
I'll say it could be a background Mickey.
I like it. Yeah, I have to go with background magic too. Like it's good, but it's definitely not something I would probably sit down and pay attention to every single time. It's great for a rainy day. So, all right, cool. So now the fun part, our weekly Imagineering. How do we want to see this movie integrated more into the parks or the cruises or resorts, you name it, merchandise? Jacob, do you want to go ahead?
I put kind of a pretty large section of this one for some reason. So let's say, so she is in the parks kind of, or at least when they were doing the character meet and greets, on your way to the right side of the castle between there and the teacups. So I thought that because the teacups is Alice in Wonderland's, which is England, and she's Scottish, that you could turn the Cheshire Cat into more of a Great Britain themed like eatery, because you could definitely have the pastries that she was feeding also.
Oh yeah,
at that eatery. So I thought that would be like a really good spot. I also know I said that since they're retheming Splash Mountain to be more Princess and the Frog, if you would move Tiana to meet and greet closer to that ride, you could move Merida in with Rapunzel. And then any little shops that are right there, you could have you could actually turn the witch's shop into, I'm trying to see what it was called here. The Crafty Carver. So you could have the restaurant, or the store actually be called the Crafty Carver, and have stuff from those 4 princesses that are there at that spot.
Cute.
So I thought about possibly just moving her spot. And then the last thing that I had here was a game similar to the Sorcerers of Magic Kingdom card game, where you go and there are the different things, and you could even use the same spots, but change the I guess the coding so that it would accept both that and the Disney Play app, where it would give you, maybe in a different order or whatnot, different, like almost like a scavenger hunt, and then use like an AR system that like it shows you a wisp and then gives you a clue, and you would have to turn like the camera, and then it would show you wisps like periodically that you'd have to like follow and hunt down to the next clue.
Ooh, I like that. That would be super fun.
Yep, because the wisps are the best anyway. Like they really
totally are.
Yeah.
This is fun. Funsy's Palace, a Disney obstacle course. So you can train to be like a princess. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like they could like maybe like match that up with like Hercules or something too.
Oh yeah, all the people who train.
Yeah,
I like that. Crafty Carver is classic. I love it. Pauline, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm totally like feeding off of you on this, Jacob. I love the Crafty Carver. I feel like there are so many small shops who do like wood, like Disney pieces, and they are so popular. Like I feel like they would make a boatload. They just had like wood Mickeys or like wooden trays. Like it doesn't have to be like the wood stuff that was in the video, but like anything people would love.
Oh, yeah.
I also wanted something with like the wisps. I love your AR idea way better. But I was thinking more something like on the ground, similar to like Epcot, where like you step and like it lights up. I thought like little blue somethings could be cool, but the AR thing is like amazing. I love that idea. And then they've just like struck a nerve with me, if you will. Just like in general in Epcot, this is like not for Brave necessarily, but it's like a bigger pet peeve I have of like Brave isn't even Ireland, but like Ireland has like a shelf in the UK and it drives me crazy. Like I think they just need a little like more diversity in the UK pavilion. Like call it England if you like, I don't know.
Yeah. You're right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so I agree Epcot needs some more stuff. I was thinking, since I love the Highland Festival so much, that they need to incorporate some sort of like Highland Festival weekend or week or whatever, like maybe during the Christmas, what's that called? Festival of the Holidays. Like they could tie that in somehow and have like guests come and do dancing and like do have bagpipes and just feed people. Like I love the idea of like a pastry shop because I want whatever those kids were eating, like the little thing with the jelly on top or something.
Right.
Looks
I need that.
amazing.
Yeah. I want that so bad.
I feel like we could do a breakfast version and like a dessert version.
Right. You can just get it periodically throughout the day.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be super fun. And I just want a meet and greet for the Bear brothers, the baby bears. I need that in my life.
Even like a photo, like an enhanced photo op, or you know, like where they pop them in, like that would even be fun.
That'd be fun.
I just want to hug them because they're so cute.
I feel like that they could do an entire Highland Games in Fort Wilderness somewhere.
Ooh,
like with full on like with caber toss and like stuff like that. And there's the stage where they have the Chip and Dale show. They could have like Highland dancing. They could have pipers and drums, and that'd be really cool. They could do like a week of it.
Yeah, I would go for that. I love that.
Well, and this goes down like the whole rabbit hole of like Disneyland. It gets like more fun, like little themed things like that. Like they need to bring more stuff like that to Disney World.
Right. Yes. I would also love to see a dark ride just because I think it would be fun to see the wisps in real life. But that's not as creative as the scavenger hunt idea.
I don't know. Like you could almost do a cross between the Flight of the Banshee, because instead of riding the Banshee, you could ride the horse. But also have something similar to
like Buzz Lightyear,
Toy Story Mania or Buzz Lightyear, where you have to like
shoot
pop
things.
the targets.
Oh wow,
that's way more fun than
like
just
that'd be cool. Yeah. And you could add the wisps in there too. Like that's like they pop up almost on the tracks to show you where you should go next.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and like I wonder too, like I don't think like this movie merits a ride like that.
Right.
But like will they get to a point where they could like make a ride like that and like you can go on this ride and enter this way, and then like the next group comes on and they can like switch the AR and they're doing a totally different ride, but it's like the same house, if you will.
Right.
So,
yeah, you could almost use like projection technology to project different things onto which they have in the Toy Story Mania. I mean, a lot of that's projection, right? So you could just do different projection based on like where the wisps take you.
Yeah, but I feel like they could do the same building and almost be like, oh, you go through this queue and you're going on the Brave ride, or this queue and you're going on like 101 Dalmatians. Like those movies that don't maybe merit like a whole thing. I feel like people would be totally down with like they could change it like every 6 months or something. I don't know.
Wow, yeah. That'd be super fun.
Or like in Epcot where it says like you have to pick your is it Spaceship Earth where you have to pick like how do you want your future to be? You could like be in the queue and there could be a thing and you like scan your magic band and you pick which ride you want to ride. Yes. And it could be not just per every 6 months. It could be like per ride.
Correct. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yes.
And I feel like they would potentially get to that point someday with like the mapping stuff that they're doing and everything. So,
right.
Man, every week we have such good ideas. These people need to be working for Disney.
I mean, they can hire me. I'll accept.
Right.
Right. Just give us a call. Yeah. We'll be there in a second. All right. So let's talk about what we have coming up on our channels, YouTube content. Pauline, what do you have going on?
I have to catch up on week vlogs. I was like caught up and no, I'm not. But I am, I just put out a video of like a huge haul of pins that I got for my honeymoon last year. So there's a lot of pins on there. And what's more exciting is there's pins that are Phil's and no one ever gets to see those. So.
Wow, we didn't even know Phil had pins.
He has like a pretty big board, so that's exciting.
No way. That's super fun. I can't wait to watch that. Yeah. And Jacob, what do you have coming up?
I'm going to talk about a little haul that I did. My wife and I went to an indoor flea market the other, I think it was Saturday, so on Halloween, and actually got a vintage 1979 Millennium Falcon, like the full-on toy. And it's more put together than the other Falcon that I have like over here. So there's more stuff with this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I got at that flea market.
Ooh, fun. Yep. Man, flea markets are the best.
Right.
Mind. I need to go to flea markets more.
Yeah, no kidding. That is super fun. I can't wait for that. I am also behind on week vlogs. I was caught up for a long time and then, yeah, now we're 2 weeks behind. But I just finished one today so I can post it tomorrow and try and get the other one out real quick. Yes, show us Phil's pins. We can't wait. Okay. So let's get this little fun thing. You may notice that we're matching, Pauline and I.
All right.
Our next guests next week, yay, Punsy's Palace. And this will be on Pauline's channel, same time though, 8. So if you're not following her, go check her out. And then we have Luke coming up and Fran from Fantastic Pins. It's going to be a super fun November. We're doing fall themed movies. So we have to pick our movie for next week. This is your gig, Jacob. Gotta pick a good one.
I don't know if
all right.
Alice has a preference. So.
Oh yeah, I don't either.
I'm gonna go. I like the colors, kind of oranges and blacks there in number 5.
Oh yeah, good one.
It's kind of very fall looking.
All right, let's see. Oh,
nice. I haven't seen that in forever.
Remember the Titans.
Right.
That'll be fun. That's a tough one. Now you know your fate.
Yes.
Your fate. All right, cool. Well, that'll be fun. So just a reminder, that is next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and it is on Pauline's channel, Mouse and Mermaid. So we will be back in a week. And then if you want to do the group watch with us, we'll be talking about that on our Facebook group. So go and check that out in the description. And I think that's it. So thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you, Jacob, for coming and participating. It was super fun. You were awesome.
Yeah, so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and be sure Jacob's channel is in the description. So if you aren't already subscribed, head over and watch his stuff. I love his dining reviews. They're fantastic if you're planning a trip.
Oh yeah, I need to
Thank
binge
you.
watch those. All right, cool. So we'll just do our little sign outs. Have a practically perfect day. Pauline.
Peace, love, and Kwaherini.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.